Imagine getting a message from a stranger that says, "Want to see hot videos?"
Yeah, boy.
You click on it and everything seems completely normal. But what you don't realize is that you have just given a hacker remote access to your computer. Now, without you even knowing it, that hacker can control your PC from anywhere in the world. They can view your files, download them, delete them, or run any program they want. They can see everything on your screen, capture passwords, and do many other things you probably never imagined were possible. So in this video, I'm going to show you guys how hackers create a video Trojan that appears to be a legitimate video file, but is actually a malicious file that can compromise a computer. Before we begin, I want to mention something important, that this video is for educational and awareness purposes only. All demonstrations shown in this video were performed in controlled isolated lab environment. So do not attempt to use this information against any computer device, network or account without explicit permission. Now before we start, we'll need Kali Linux and Windows virtual machine. If you're not familiar with those, you can watch my last video on my channel where I explain everything in detail. With that out of the way, let's get started. First, I will open my Kali Linux terminal and switch to the root user. Then I'll type the command shown on the screen. Here the L host value should be your IP address. If you don't know your IP address, simply type ipconfig and look for it there. Once I have my IP address, I'll enter it into the command and press enter. Now our payload is ready. I can also see this into my file system. At this point, a hacker could use any delivery method, such as WhatsApp, email, social media, or file sharing platform. For this demonstration, I'm going to use a web server. To do this, I'll first copy this from here. Then I'll navigate to my file system, then go to var, www, and finally HTML. As you can see, this is my web server directory. Your setup may look slightly different, but generally anything inside the HTML folder can be accessed through the web server. I'll paste my payload into an evil file folder. You can place it anywhere inside the HTML directory if you want. First, I'll need root permission. So I'll right click, select open as root and enter my Kali password. Now the payload is ready to deliver. Before accessing it from the target machine, I'll need to start my web server because it isn't running yet. I'll return to my terminal and run the command shown on the screen. I also need my IP address, so I'll open a new terminal tab and run ifconfig again. Next, I'll switch to the Windows machine, open a browser and enter my Kali Linux IP address. Since the payload is inside the evil files folder, I'll include the folder name in the URL. As you can see, our payload appears on the web page. I'll click on it to download it. But before downloading that, there is one important thing to remember. Make sure Windows Defender or any antivirus software is disabled. Otherwise, it may block the payload. We can discuss antivirus bypass techniques in another video, but that's more advanced cybersecurity topic. For now, just disable the antivirus in this lab environment and download the payload. As you can see, we have successfully delivered the payload to the target machine. If I double click this file, I'll gain remote access to the Windows system. However, before doing that, I'll need to set up a listener on Kali Linux. Let's go back to Kali Linux and configure the listener. Follow along and enter the command shown on your screen. Basically, the payload creates a reverse connection from the target system. To receive that connection, we need a listener waiting for it. After running that final command exploit, our listener is ready. Now I'll go back to the Windows machine, double click the payload. You may see security warning depending on your system configuration and also your antivirus. For this demonstration, I'll allow it to run. Nothing appears to happen on the Windows machine. But if I return on my Kali Linux, you can see that now I have a remote session connected to the Windows system. For here, I can browse file and folders, download files, delete any files, capture a screenshot, record audio from the microphone, and perform any other actions. For example, I'll type the screenshot command. I receive a screenshot from the target machine. As you can see, I can see this screenshot on my file system. Let me make a few changes on the target system. I'll open Instagram on my Windows machine and type some random text. Now when I return on my Kali and capture another screenshot, you can clearly see updated screenshot, and I can run many commands as well. However, there is one problem. This payload looks very suspicious. When someone opens it, nothing appears to happen. That's a huge red flag. To make it look more legitimate, we're going to embed a video alongside the payload. To do this, we will use a bat file. A bat file allows us to execute multiple tasks at the same time. I'll open the bat file in my Kali Linux. Inside the script, you will see two variables, URL1 and URL2. We will replace URL1 with payload link and URL2 with a legitimate video link. That way, when the victim runs the bat file, both action occurs parallelly. We could add even more actions if we wanted, but for this demonstration, we will only use two. For URL1, I'll enter the direct link to the payload on my web server. This includes both the folder path and the payload file name, so that file downloads automatically. Then for URL2, I'll search for a sample video online, and yes, I will go to first my browser, and then okay, I'll copy the direct video link and paste it into the bat file. Now the bat file is ready. I'll press Ctrl+S to save it. Since the file is ready inside my web server directory, I'll go to the Windows machine and download it. This time, instead of browsing evil files folder, I'll use the connection folder in my URL. Because my bat file is inside this folder, before running it, I need to start my listener again. Since we already configured everything earlier, I only need to run the exploit command, and our listener is again ready. Back to the Windows machine, I'll execute the bat file. As you can see, a video starts playing immediately. The user thinks they are simply watching a video, but in the background, the payload is also running. Meanwhile, I can see the target system's file and current directory from my Kali Linux, but we still have couple of issues. First, the file doesn't have a video icon, which makes it look suspicious. Second, when the bat file runs, a terminal window briefly appears, which can also raise suspicion. To solve both problems, we will convert the bat file into an executive file, means exe file. This prevents the command prompt windows from appear and allows us to add a custom icon. I'll terminate my current session and open a tool called bat to exe converter. Since exe file doesn't run natively on Kali Linux, I'll use Wine. Wine is a tool that can run executive file inside Kali Linux. I'll type the Wine command, followed the program name, and the converter will launch. If you want to install this software yourself, go to the GitHub page as you can see on your screen. Click Draw to download the file. Once the download is completed, navigate to the download file, right click it and select Extract here. After that, the remaining steps are exactly same. Inside the converter, I'll click Open and select my bat file. For the output format, I'll use 64-bit invisible. Next, I'll add a custom icon. I'll open a browser and search for Windows 11 video icon and PNG. After downloading an image, I like to search for a PNG to ICO converter and upload the image. Once the conversion is complete, I'll download the icon file. As you can see, I have the downloaded file inside my folder. Now I'll load the ICO file into the converter. Finally, I'll click convert and our final executable is now ready. I'll place it back on my web server and download it to the target machine. As you can see, it now looks much more convincing. It has a video icon, no terminal windows appear, and it behaves more like a legitimate media file. When I double click it, I once again receive a remote connection on my Kali Linux. You can see, and again I can control my Windows machine remotely. However, there is still one final issue, the file extension, and I also receive a comment on my previous video For this problem, I can't permanently change an executable into a MP4 file because Windows rely on actual file extensions. However, I can make it appears more convincing by using a right to left override trick. If you are watching this video and still haven't liked it yet, please go ahead and hit the like button and subscribe to see more videos on this topic. Now let's go back to the video. Although this is enough, we are going to polish our work a little more. For that, I'll switch over to Kali Linux and work with the file there. To do this, we need to rename this file in a reverse way. Let me show you how. As you can see, the file is currently named video.exe. We are going to make it look like video.exe.mp4. Even though it will appear to be an mp4 file, it's actually still an exe file because we are using special right to left Unicode characters. To do this, I'll open my browser, search for right to left Unicode and go to this website. Then I'll click copy. Even though it doesn't look like we have copied anything, well, we'll still click it. Now I will go back to the Trojan file and change its name from video.exe to video.4pm.exe. Next, place your cursor right before the 4 and press Ctrl+V, and that's it. Your file is ready. You can see the latest and polished name of your file. In this case, the system reads part of the text from right to left so that exe file remains unchanged while appearing differently to the user. If you are having any issue with this process, you can check out my previous video about PDF Trojan. It uses almost the same method. Now the question is, how can you protect yourself from these type of attacks? First, never download any random file from untrusted source. Second, always keep your antivirus software enabled and up to date. If your PC has been compromised and you need help, feel free to leave a comment on this video. I'll do my best to help you.